Buenos días o buenas tardes, depende. All right, so today's learning target is how to make singular nouns plural. I can make singular nouns plural. So I took a couple, la ventana, el gato, la mesa, aquí el cartel, el reloj, el lápiz, la nariz. First, to show you just kind of how this works en español. You'll find it's fairly straightforward. Gets a little bit more complicated as we go down the list. No te preocupes, all right? Follow the simple rules that we'll review with packet page 14. Practice a ton and you'll be good to go. So, how do we make nouns plural? Well, they're all going to end with S. That helps. But Spanish has different articles, the masculine el and the feminine la. Then we also have to look at the endings of the nouns themselves to determine how we're going to make those plural. Most of the time, you're simply going to add an S, but not always. All right, first of all, el becomes los and la becomes las. All right, so la ventana, las. Las ventanas is going to be our plural form. El gato, like I said before, el becomes los, la becomes las. El gato, los gatos. All right, la mesa, el becomes los, la becomes las, starts with la, las mesas. All right, so we're adding an S to the end of all these. ¿Por qué? We're looking at the last letter in each, and we see that each of those is a vowel. A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, or U. If it ends with a vowel, you simply add an S at the end of the noun, and that makes the noun plural. Of course, the articles in Spanish also need to change to reflect that this noun is plural. El becomes los, la becomes las. Las ventanas, los gatos, las mesas. So what happens if the word, or the noun rather, does not end with a vowel? Okay, so it ends with a consonant, like el cartel, el reloj, el lápiz or la nariz. Same rules going to apply. El becomes los, la becomes las for the article. However, to make cartel plural, we're going to add es. Los carteles. And it adds a syllable. El reloj, los relojes. Spanish, like English, also has some spelling changes when we change things from the singular to the plural, like leaf. Leaf becomes leaves. Knife becomes knives. That F turns into a V. Why? I don't know. It just does, right? El lápiz, el becomes los. But Z is going to change to C before we add ES. El lápiz, the pencil. Los lápices. CES. La nariz, the nose, la becomes las, but because it ends with a Z, before we add ES, Z turns into a C. The noses, las narices. So, if it ends with a vowel, we add S. If it ends with a consonant, we add ES. If that consonant is a Z, we're going to change that to C before we add ES, and every single time el becomes los and la becomes las, making singular nouns plural. Now, accent marks. These are some things that you need to consider, but at this point you do not need to really understand them. You certainly don't need to memorize them, but you do need to be aware that they do happen, all right? Accent marks might change when we make things plural. However, we see in this word lápiz, lápices. We added ES, but it didn't change anything. The accent mark here, aquí, is here as well in the plural form. El lápiz, los lápices. Just like that, the bird, el pájaro, los pájaros, is going to keep its accent mark right in the exact same place. Nothing changed. El became los. It ends with a vowel, so we added S. The birds, los pájaros. However, sometimes words in Spanish are going to lose an accent mark when they become plural, especially if it's here toward the end in a word like la canción, the song, the plural. La becomes las, son las canciones. Las canciones, the songs, plural, we added es to the consonant, and look, the accent mark is gone. It has disappeared. We do not need it. We do not have it in the plural form. Again, you don't need to know this specifically or how it happens. The mechanism's not important. You just need to know that it does happen sometimes. El joven is a young person, a juvenile, a youngin'. When we make these plural, I'm talking about y'all, young people. Los, el becomes los. And then jóvenes actually gains an accent mark when it becomes plural. So again, you don't need to know why or when this happens. You just need to know that it does happen. So accent marks might stay the same, they might disappear, or they might appear seemingly out of nowhere when we make nouns plural. All right. At this point, you need to move to packet page 14 en el paquete. En el paquete, en la página 14. Packet page 14 has a review of the rules here for making nouns plural. Go ahead and continue with this video. Con el lápiz, escribe por favor. When we make nouns plural, el becomes los, la becomes las. If the noun ends with a vowel, we're going to add s. If the noun ends with a consonant, we add es. If that final consonant is a z, we're going to change that to c before adding es. All right? So some simple rules, and those are the 5 rules right there. There are a couple exceptions, a couple other things that happen occasionally, but these are the ones that you need to know. Also, when nouns become plural, those accent marks, they could stay the same. They could disappear, or they could appear where they weren't before. Finally, nouns modifying other nouns. This is like ham sandwich or Spanish class, or in this case, the example, la hoja de papel. If I want to make this plural, think about it in English. The sheet of paper, the sheets of paper. Even though sheet and paper are both nouns, the one that becomes plural is the sheet, right? Paper is just what kind of sheet, or what is this sheet made of? So, la hoja de papel is an example of a noun modifying another noun. They all use de. So this is the what. This is the active noun. And papel just tells us what kind. What's it made of? A sheet of what? All right? So la hoja is what's going to become plural. La becomes las because hoja ends with a vowel. We simply add s. The rest of it, de papel, is going to stay exactly the same. It's just like the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, right? We don't change peanut butter and jelly. We change sandwich to sandwiches by adding es, all right? Making that plural. Finally, if something belongs to me, mi amigo, mi gato, mi familia, sometimes what I have is plural, like maybe I have some pencils or I have 2 dogs, mis perros. So my could become plural, mis amigos, mis perros, mis hijos, mis bolígrafos, mis clases. If something belongs to you, tu amigo, tus amigos, tu familia, singular, tus hermanos, plural, tus. All right, so possessive adjectives, mi becomes mis, tu becomes tus, and then su belongs to him or her, or usted if we're being formal. can also become plural. Su turns into sus. So if you're talking to me about my desk, su escritorio. If you're talking to me about my markers, sus marcadores. All right, so you have a lot of practice. You're going to start on packet page 14 and continue making tons of nouns plural. We start with el gato. Don't forget, el becomes los. Los gatos, because why? It ends with a vowel. We just add s. También, la tortuga, la. La becomes las. Every single time, tortuga ends with a vowel. Las tortugas, plural form. So when you're done with this, check and make sure all of your articles, that's the els and las, are all changed to loses and lasses, and all your nouns will end with s, or if they end with a consonant, es. And of course, I added a couple that end with z, so you're going to change z to c before adding es. Good luck, buena suerte. We will go over some of these, and I'm giving you plenty of